Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about investing in YouTube channels, which is something that, to be honest with you, I never really thought was on the horizon. I guess I was a little short-sighted because at this point in time, you can invest in pretty much anything and everything. It seems like investing culture has kind of swept the world by storm all of a sudden over the last few years, but it's something that I've never really considered. I knew you could buy YouTube channels and do pretty much all kinds of things with them and turn them into valuable assets, but I never really considered the fact that there would be channels out here selling portions of their channel off to their audience, basically like they were a company, man. I mean, it's pretty crazy, but with that situation that we're going to be talking about today, one in particular here, I would definitely expect you to not invest. Today's video is sponsored by Shoptimus, the official home of Optimus merch. We just launched our summer 2022 collection and we're passing savings on to you. Most of our products are made right here in the USA, and last year we had over a 99% satisfaction rating with our clothes, accessories, and digital products. With the summer weather here, it's crucial to be comfortable in durable clothing, and our soft, true-to-size shirts are perfect for this weather. With LED mouse pads, posters, shirts, hoodies, shorts, phone accessories, and much more, Shoptimus is your one-stop shop for anything Optimus. You can also get my new book, 10 Years of YouTube, My Journeys ebook, and more. And the best part is, you can shop right here on YouTube. We've connected Shoptimus and Optimus to give you a seamless, easy-to-shop experience right underneath all of your favorite Optimus uploads. But don't wait, use code BESTFANSEVER at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Whether you spend $5 or $100, you can get 10% off today off your entire order at Shoptimus. Go to www.shoptimus.net for more. I would say the logical and smart decision here is to save your money and to steer clear of this. Now, I'm not saying this because I dislike this YouTube channel or I don't think their content's good. In fact, Disrupt happens to be one of my favorite YouTube channels. I like watching the type of content that Disrupt puts out. There's a few channels kind of like it that I watch, so I'm not going to be particularly upset if everything goes wrong with this channel, but Disrupt has become one of the, I guess, front runners of content, at least for me personally. So Disrupt is a YouTube channel with nearly 1.5 million subscribers, and recently a video was uploaded on July 24th titled, "I'm Selling This Channel, Questions and Answers." And as a fan of this channel, as someone who watches this channel pretty frequently, of course, I had to click because obviously who wouldn't click on a title like that? And that's when I was greeted with this video.
So the following video will be a question and answer to the most common questions asked in our video campaign page, as well as on our WeFunder campaign page. So the first question is, what is the nature of the restructure? Like, what does Path B mean? Path B essentially means that a prior member of Disrupt will assume 51% control of Disrupt. This is where the $466,000 of debt can be seen on our financials. This is what the prior member has set their price at in order to depart from Disrupt. So in exchange for your ownership of the company, this would allow me to specifically expand the company with the vision that I have in mind, as mentioned in the previous video.
Alright, so basically, if this were to fail, they would have to do restructuring of this business. A prior member of Disrupt would take 51% ownership of the company. Now, I don't know if you guys are kind of picking up on this yet, but there's like a really loud part of the story, or at least a part of the story that should be really loud that is really quiet right now. Something about this isn't being explained, and something about this smells incredibly fishy. And we're actually about to get into why that's the case, literally with the next video clip from this video, but right now the basically red flags, I guess, are just starting to wave in the wind, you know? So let me go ahead and explain to you guys what's really happening here, because there's kind of two different messages here. On one hand, this is the one that's being told to people. What's gonna happen is basically fans invest $500,000 into this YouTube channel. That money goes into creating better content, long-form content like movies, virtual reality content, basically taking all of the great things about Disrupt, pushing it even further, making even better content. So basically, you guys help invest $500,000 into this business, they come back with better products for you. That is what's basically being advertised, it's what's being marketed here, but that's not really why $500,000 is getting raised. See, the reason that $500,000 is getting raised to basically buy out 10% of this YouTube channel, which we'll get into why that's absolutely insane in the first place here in a minute, but the real reason that $500,000 is actually being raised raised is because this guy recording here bought out the other partner's half of the company for $500,000. He's now in a significant amount of debt. I mean, $500,000 in debt is nothing to play around with. And instead of doing literally anything else to raise that money or to make that money in any other way, now is selling 10% of this YouTube channel for $500,000. So if you're a math-oriented mind, or anyone with common sense really, or just listening to the video, you'll notice that something is really weird about him buying 50% of the company for $500,000, which would put a valuation of $1 million total on Disrupt. Then when it goes to flipping this around to the public and trying to basically get the public to invest, this valuation has suddenly skyrocketed to $10 million, and only 10% of the company is worth $500,000. Now, I don't know about you guys, but something about that doesn't add up, doesn't sound right. How did half of the company go from being worth $500,000 to 10% of it being worth $500,000 with no reasonable increase in, finances, viewership, really anything?
The next question is, how did we arrive at a $10 million valuation? And I have to stress that this valuation was arrived at internally. This was arrived at by me, not a third party. And I arrived at this by essentially extrapolating the current position of Disrupt, as well as the two industries that we have a foot in. Those two industries being YouTube and virtual reality. If I take a look at the YouTube ecosystem and where it has grown over the past 10 years and where it is projected to grow, I believe that the current positioning of the channel itself, if we continue releasing high quality content, will continue to grow the value of the brand itself and the company itself. And then looking to virtual reality, I think the question there is how long before virtual reality becomes synonymous as it is with our phones in our pockets. And I think that will probably be 10 to 15 years. So the position and the roadmap that I'd like to take Disrupt down is taking the next 5 to 7 years to create virtual reality experiences and build that secondary division of value in the company alongside the video division of Disrupt. I think these two divisions, these two feet that are in these two industries, is enough to warrant the $10 million valuation. Some may disagree with this valuation and say it's overpriced. That's okay.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and straight up tell you it is not enough to justify this valuation. You cannot just look at the future and say, oh, well, this other company's doing really, really good, and they have good projections for the next 10 years. This must mean that our, business is gonna do good. I also obviously have a YouTube channel pretty similarly sized, a couple 100,000 subscribers away. Obviously, my YouTube channel is not worth $10 million. That is actually ridiculous, and he openly admits that the number comes from him. It wasn't arrived at, by like a financial consultant or an accountant or like a business person, anything. Like, no one in the financial world did this for them, which is probably the correct path to go down if you're trying to sell 10% of your business for $500,000. I would think you guys have enough money to hire somebody to come to a legitimate number for you guys here, but I think this valuation is completely fucking ridiculous. Like, not even close to reality. Couple $1 million? Maybe. You can maybe value a YouTube channel at this size at that. I would have to see the actual numbers breakdown, which obviously there's none provided because this guy came up with the number himself. At least no numbers that really justify or explain why it's a $10 million valuation. Let me go ahead and break down how ludicrous this actually is. So every time someone on YouTube, let's say, watches an ad, right? That's a fraction of a cent that you earn from that one person. Disrupt has 1.41 million subscribers. In order to get to a $10 million valuation, every single person subscribed to Disrupt would have to create, well, let's just say offhand, $10 in value financially to the company in order for that to happen. When watching a YouTube ad provides you with a fraction of a cent, imagine how many videos somebody would have to watch from Disrupt to even generate close to that kind of value. Oh, but Optimus, there's merch and there's other avenues of creating income. Well, yeah, I know that, but you're not gonna sell merchandise to all 1.41 million subscribers. It's pretty much, I would say impossible probably for a YouTube channel this size to be worth that much money. All because, I mean, we don't see any financials really that show that this is worth $10 million.
The next question is, what are your financial projections? How much can I expect to make on my $100 investment or $1,000 investment? And unfortunately, SEC guidelines do not, I specifically cannot by law provide financial projections or convey to you expectations on the amount of money you will get on a return for your investment. This, I believe, should be thought of in terms of decades rather than a short-term investment. You should not be expecting to make a return on your investment for the subsequent years, specifically because we are building this company, yes, in video content, but truly in virtual reality content as well. So it's a long-term play rather than a quick way to make money.
All right, so this is like a massive flaw, I think, in the logic of this entire thing here. So let's say you invest $100 into Disrupt, right? Like you go on this website, you put $100 into it. What happens now, right? What can I make? Obviously, nothing. You can't make anything. You're not going to make any amount of money that's worth your time by investing $100. The only people who are actually going to make legit money on this thing are the people who put in thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, however much, if that's even possible. Those are going to be the people making money because, I mean, let's just do some basic math, right? Let's say you get a 7% average return on your investment every year. That is $7 a year that you make for investing $100. You literally can't even buy lunch at McDonald's with $7. That's like 1.5 gallons of gas in some parts of the United States. And that's, of course, before you consider taxes or anything else, because you already know the government gets their hand in everything you make. So realistically, you can expect to make nothing. And that's, of course, considering the idea that Disrupt is really worth what they say it's worth, which is $10 million, by the way. That assumes that Disrupt will be financially profitable over the next few years. And that assumes that everything else goes right. That everything, like, you know, they meet their funding goal, everything goes right. That it's assuming the best case scenario for 80% of people is to make a couple bucks a year. But let's get down to the nitty gritty of why this needs to be done. So, as I mentioned earlier in the video here, this guy is basically $500,000 in debt. Now, probably that could, just because the numbers line up, right? This amount of money that's being raised is actually going to cover that debt. It's just too much of a coincidence that he buys half the company for $500,000, is now $500,000 in debt, and then all of a sudden is trying to raise, you guessed it, $500,000 through his fans. It's too much of a coincidence. It just is. Like, the odds that this is a legitimate situation and what's being said is what's really being done is slim to none. I would not buy this at all. Like, there's no way that I could ever legitimately believe this story. And it all circles around that fact. You spent $500,000 to buy out the rest of the channel, you're $500,000 in debt, and suddenly you're trying to raise $500,000 from your fans. I don't know, man. I just have never considered a YouTube channel to be something that people can invest in. Like with my YouTube channel, I own it outright. I do everything myself, basically. Like I run this whole brand almost entirely by myself. So to me, like the idea of selling, I don't know, 10% of Optimus stock or something, not really something I've ever considered. So it just seems completely off to me. But I mean, the debt's there. That's what the money's going toward. I mean, don't let yourself get fooled here. They're making all these promises of, oh, we're going to invest it into content. We're going to invest it into virtual reality content. They just can't, okay? They got $500,000 worth of debt on the books. Eventually, the pay guy's going to come and he's going to collect. They got to get that money together. Your money is going to fund that. Let's get serious here. That's the only outcome here. You're basically investing in this business to pay off this guy's debt. You're not investing into this business to make money. You're not investing into this company, or I should say this YouTube channel, to see a profit or a return. If you ever do see a profit or a return, it's going to be just basically the bare minimum. It's overvalued. The valuation didn't come from like a legitimate financial guru or anything, which automatically turns me off of investing into something like this. And let's be honest here, there's ways that you can fundraise and make money from your audience that doesn't involve selling legitimate stock in your channel. I get it. As a creator, I get it, right? Like, you have to fund new ideas. There's things that I fund. There's things that I, am lucky enough to be able to fund because my audience is so, nice. For instance, though, I don't sell 10% of Optimus stock to my audience and tell them, oh, hey, you could make money off my channel. No, instead I sell them shirts, or I sell them hoodies, or I sell them a product. Shoptimus.net, know, watch Optimus. You get extra videos, get extra uploads, a couple extra uploads a month, right? That's the deal, you know? Patreon, anything, channel memberships, there's all kinds of different routes to go down where you can make a lot of money, where you can fund these things, and where you can start to chip away at this debt without selling a chunk of the YouTube channel in what I can only describe as a very shady way. This is not a good idea. I don't recommend anybody get involved. I don't recommend you put your money for. I feel like there's just better things you can invest $100 into than hoping an overvalued YouTube channel will spend the money like they say they will, so you can make the most just minor returns possible. So with that being said though, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @subtooptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below, and until my next video guys, this is Optimus, well, not investing into disrupt YouTube channel, and signing out.